Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Way Forward Workshop Leader Lunch Break. What a great addition this is. It's hard to believe that a week ago we were all still on pins and needles trying to understand what it all meant and what would happen on Thursday evening. Presenters, you were ideas to tape them in a space and only get one take at it, and then to do your best in answering questions. And then, of course, in the finals last Thursday, we're really grateful for the courage that you displayed in coming forward, because we couldn't have Accelerate without you. And I also see some hosts and judges on the call. Thank you for your participation. Got to call out Michael Jeans, the host with the most, and the amazing fireplace in the background. Thanks, Michael. Good to see you. So we'll have more folks joining us momentarily, but who are these rock stars that we have with us, these amazing civic pitchers? First, Antwoine Washington and Michael Russell of MoCA, the Museum of Creative Human Art. Abigail Poeske, Abby, and Rachel Hosler, the Ecosystem of Innovators. Layla and Ashley Welch, and Layla, please drive carefully, of Project Coping Box. Michelle Park, Project D-Light, Dark Night, Stars Bright. And Lisa Rose Rodriguez, Planting Stems of Peace. And I also see that we've been joined by our Technovation winner, Jing Luenko. So welcome to all of you, and we look forward to hearing your story about Accelerate. Rachel?
Thanks, Marianne. So today we are going to have a guided discussion with our Accelerate finalists. We'll have the opportunity for our audience to pose questions as well. So to start, we are going to begin our conversation with the finalists in education, authentic Cleveland experiences, and quality of life. So first question, I would like to start with our overall Accelerate winner as voted on by our audience, Sara Kidner, with the project Read Like Me in the education category. Sara, again, congratulations on being our overall winner. How are you feeling post-Accelerate?
I'm obviously very excited. I had this kind of in the works in my mind, and this has definitely accelerated the process as far as getting things launched and being able to connect to people all around the city who want to help to get this program started.
As you think about the experience of Accelerate, Sara, what has been the most surprising over the past few weeks of this Accelerate process and experience?
I think the most surprising thing is just how relatable my situation was to other people. I'm hearing from a lot of parents who are facing some of the same struggles of not being able to find reading materials and things like that that were appropriate, and early literacy that was reflective of their students. And so the gratitude of the people and people who are in that same boat. So it wasn't just a microcosm problem, it's a much bigger problem. And so being able to solve that has been awesome.
Right now, I'm going to turn my attention to Antwoine. Antwoine, can you tell us a little bit about your idea and what made you and Michael decide to submit a pitch?
Yeah. A little bit about our idea was basically me being a local artist. I wanted to be able to kind of bridge that gap in between the art institutions here in Cleveland and local Black artists and brown artists here. And so the idea was basically just creating an experience where we can actually bring those local artists in and create an ecosystem between them and the community, and be able to, I'll say, like, I always say this quote for myself is, I want to be the person that I needed when I was a kid. And so I think mentorship and bringing people along in the community and connecting those artists is one of the big things that we wanted to do. And so that's what we set out to do, and we've been doing it.
So, and I'm going to pose the same question to you. What has been surprising to you about this Accelerate experience?
The most surprising thing is last year I submitted to actually be a part of this great experience, and we didn't get in, unfortunately, but we tried again this year and we did. But it actually worked out because we were just getting started last year and actually putting this together, and so it made more sense to actually go out and get our feet wet to understand what it is that we were trying to do. So I'll say, like, it's been a wonderful experience to be amongst all these esteemed ideas and people, and actually just creating a network around what it is that we're doing as a group in the whole. So I think I'm thankful for the opportunity.
Well, and we were thankful to have you a part of it. And I know your partner, Michael, who is here with us, but has been dealing with some health issues. So he sends his regards as well.
For sure.
Michelle, so your project is around light pollution. Was this an idea you had been thinking about for some time? Why try to move forward now?
For many years, I've really been interested in astrophysics and just observing the night sky in an area where the streetlights are just so bright. It's been a big source of frustration whenever I go out, even in the middle of the night, to go stargazing and then I can't see anything. And so I think that with Project Delight, I started it because I realized that light pollution isn't something that just affects astronomers and stargazing, but rather something that is a safety issue, is an economic issue, and certainly is pervasive in our society today. And so dealing with light pollution now, hopefully we'll be able to bring more attention to this issue and hopefully bring forth more positive change across communities.
And what has been your biggest learning experience this past week through Accelerate?
Accelerate has been a really unique experience. One of the most fun aspects was going to that recording studio. I've never been to one before, but most importantly was hearing about other community projects and sort of taking inspiration from how they've been able to develop it further and how they've been also able to encourage change in their communities. Because through their projects, I too have been inspired to pursue my initiative a lot further as well.
Great. So Sarah, coming back to you, what brought you to Accelerate and why this project for you?
So choosing to apply for Accelerate, oddly enough, my husband runs a nonprofit organization, Recess Cleveland, and he was actually working on his own pitch ideas. And that's kind of what got me thinking about my ideas. But my project was really launched based on my own experience with my family and having my son not have access to reflective programming for him. And the urgency of being a high school principal and not being able to hire Black male teachers. The Cleveland schools right now are at between 3% and 4%. Nationally, it's 2%. And that's always been a point of frustration that our teaching staff is not more reflective of our students. And so with those things combined, that really kind of helped formulate the plan together of getting the reader leaders into classrooms, working with students and encouraging more Black male students to go into the field of education.
And as you look ahead, what's next for you? What do your next steps look like?
So our next steps are really about recruiting people from all walks. So we're trying to work on recruiting reader leaders and students who might be interested in interning in the program, as well as support from the community. We finally got our website up, readlikeme.org, and we're looking for volunteers and people that can help in that process. So we want to create content on YouTube and be able to develop that channel. So people with some technical background are needed to help with the students, people who may have content creation backgrounds and things like that, as well as people who just want to support. A lot of people have been reaching out about books, and we're definitely looking for books that have diverse characters and are reflective of our students so they can find that joy of learning. So we'll probably be putting up a wish list for that as well, so we can get that put together in hopes to launch our full program in the fall.
And for everyone who is on the call with us today, if you are interested in connecting with any of our Accelerate finalists, we encourage you to please reach out to me, to CLC, and we are happy to help facilitate connections, especially as you hear of some of the needs that our presenters have today. So Antwoine, looking for your project and how you and Michael are looking to advance it, what are you working on now? What is next for you and your idea?
Right now, we actually have an exhibition up. Me as an artist has an exhibition talking about our journey through the MOCA, which is a real big, I'll say, opportunity for to shine light on me as an artist, but also shine a light on our organization. And so our main thing is to focus on scaling and trying to figure out how we can employ some artists and get them more involved with doing a lot of the gallery work, and getting and helping them gain experience and skills in those areas, and also reconnecting them back to possibly skill sharing with the kids as well, because we also do we have a nonprofit portion of our business, so we also do a lot of community work with youth and art, and so we want to actually grow that and hopefully get a space and kind of grow from there.
And I know Michael, who is also here with us, want to give you space to be able to share your reflections on Accelerate and what the past week has been like for you as you think about Mocha Gallery and what's coming for the project.
It's been good for both Antwoine and I, just being able to show all of Cleveland. I'll just say that all of Cleveland leaders as well, just show them what we're doing as of now and what we have planned, and just to be amongst others who we could possibly connect with and collaborate at some point in the near future. It's just a great I say atmosphere to be around. And so we thank Cleveland Leadership Center for just the opportunity.
All right, thank you. So Michelle, as you think about pulling your idea together, doing the pitch, what might have been the hardest part of the process for you and why?
The hardest part was definitely spreading the word. I feel like not many people really know about light pollution, or at least it's sort of considered the lowest out of the other pollution types like air pollution and water pollution. And so starting out the initiative and trying to share the word with other people was, of course, the most difficult step. Especially when moving forward, I have contacted some city council members, and I think pushing forward with some more regulations against light pollution will certainly be a challenge, but hopefully one that Project Delight can overcome.
And similar question to you, what's next? What are some of those next first steps you're taking?
So I hope to use the money that I've won through the Cleveland Accelerate Leadership pitch competition to try to implement new changes in my community here in Solon, Ohio, whether that's low cost shielding for outdoor lights, even in high profile areas like frequently traveled roads, or even replacing the overly bright and inefficient light bulbs to more efficient and productive types like LEDs, because these changes can sufficiently transform the trajectory of light pollution across communities. And I think that the next step is to hopefully allow for these changes to finally take place across communities in Ohio.
All right, so this question is going to be for all of you, and we'll go around for answers. So it can be kind of daunting to think about getting an idea off the ground and to put yourself out there with that idea. And each of you have done that through this Accelerate experience. So what advice would you have for someone who might have an idea but not quite sure where to get started? And we'll start with Sara.
I think the biggest advice I could give is really to put that idea out into the universe. You'd be surprised with the amount of support that is available. Cleveland is a city full of change agents, and surrounding yourself with that type of energy really helps you to solidify your plan, to get the supports gathered that you need, and to provide you with that energy to move forward. And so that was an awesome experience for me. So definitely apply for next year's cohort. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. And I would definitely recommend it to other people as well.
All right, Antwoine.
Yeah, I would just say believe in yourself. That's one thing I would say, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Me and Michael, we launched this idea literally in the middle of the pandemic, and so during this difficult time, a lot of people thought we were crazy and thought the idea was crazy, and it seemed like it was what everyone, other people were doing, but we just believed in ourselves and kind of stuck with the plan, and we understood the overarching thing and theme and what we were actually in being intentional on what we want to get done as a goal. And so as long as you stay focused on what it is that that you and your vision that that you want to accomplish, you can do anything. And so that's one of the things that we took pride in moving forward, and that's what kept us on this path. So I definitely would make sure that I'm champion Cleveland leadership, because this is probably one of the greatest opportunities that I had as a business owner to connect with everybody and be within the network. So, hey, I love it.
Thank you. I'm going to look to your partner, Michael. What advice might you give?
Yeah, I have to agree with what Antwoine said, and also to kind of, in addition to that, is to understand or know your why. Understanding, and I have to reiterate that, is understanding your why, having your mission, having your vision, and making sure that you accomplish the goals. But make sure you focus on your vision, your mission, and your goal. And I think that you'll be on a great path, and make sure that you stick to it, so that when distractions come, you can stick to those three things.
That's great. Thank you. And then I'm going to now look to Michelle.
I would just say that just sharing your passion is already a great way to start an initiative. Even sharing the word online or even sharing to your peers can already make a difference, even though it may seem incredibly small. The Cleveland Accelerate Leadership Center has the Cleveland Leadership Center has a wide variety of great opportunities as well. So just looking for those opportunities to share your passion and your interests is always great.
Well, we want to thank the four of you for speaking with us during this portion. Now we're going to turn to our next set of presenters, and you four will come back for our Q&A before we wrap up. So now we are going to talk with our finalists in the economic development, social change, and health and well-being categories. So we are going to start with Abby and Rachel from economic development. So for Abby and Rachel, tell us a little bit more about your project and how did you come to pitch this idea together?
So our project is to bring the Commons to Northeast Ohio, and the Commons is an innovation program which connects students from multiple universities across disciplines with local area businesses. And it's a talent retention tool, a skill building tool, and an opportunity for students to connect with job opportunities in Ohio. Rachel can answer the second part.
So Abby and I came to pitch this together. We worked together professionally a few years ago and were introduced to this program in Milwaukee, and it was something that both inspired us. And I think that we both love Northeast Ohio and see the potential in retaining our students here and how this can really impact that. And so that's how we came to bringing this and trying to invest in it more.
And as you think about the past couple months of being a part of Accelerate, what has been the most impactful part of that experience?
I think that both Rachel and I have done a lot of work in Stark County and Summit County, and this is kind of our first chance to really break into Cuyahoga County and the Cleveland area. And so the immediate connections that we were able to make through the experience was really impactful, and you know, it happened so quickly and in ways that we never would have been able to do on our own.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been great to connect with all the finalists as well, even in the smaller categories, just talking with each other and hearing their stories and, you know, seeing how they're inspired by their work has been really impactful too.
All right, let's turn to Lisa, who's our finalist in social change. Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about your idea and what made you decide to submit a pitch this year?
So my idea, my inspiration, actually, there's several of them, but if I want to draw a linear picture of it, I played a reporter in a movie in Hartford, Connecticut, and my job was to report on a homicide that had occurred, and we were really filming the film across from where a real homicide had occurred. The memorial was still there for the decedent. And most of my time in graduate school I spent on infectious disease. and a lot of it on HIV/AIDS. And I started so long ago that we didn't have the medication. So we used to tell the client to look in the phone book and choose an undertaker. We also used to tell the clients if they were addicted to try to die sober, so that wouldn't be the cause of the death on the birth certificate. So we had an idea that their death was inevitable. So in connecting to gun violence, many people who live around it have normalized someone being shot. So I don't want that to be the norm for the Black and Brown community. However, the solutions are very complicated. But when I came across this one about changing the tree canopy and decreasing the blight in the neighborhood, I was writing an article for the Cleveland Observer, and I'm working right here on 55th and Standard Avenue where I can see lots of blighted buildings. I decided that that would be a solution where we would be able to respond to the crime scene, and we would be able to enact policies and plans where people don't have to have a credential to heal someone.
And since sharing your idea through Accelerate, how has the response been to the idea?
The response has been phenomenal, Rachel. One of the things I did is I went on my Twitter account. My Twitter account is my middle name and my married name. Like Tina Turner, I kept my married name, but I didn't keep the man who gave it to me. I think you'll find him in the dumpster somewhere. So so I kept it. So my Twitter account was blown up by the cross posting. I had many people who listened to me on my podcast who also tuned in to the various accelerant programs and cross posted that as well, because on Twitter I follow a whole lot of people who are anti-gun violence.
That's great. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to look to Layla and Ashley. So how did the two of you come to apply to Accelerate together?
Well, me and Layla, we met at a job we used to work at, and we just found that the things that we do just mesh so well. So we came up with the missing link, and then like kind of COVID happened, and a lot of the things that we were trying to do that we couldn't get the students. So we were like, we need to put something in their hands. Like we need to give them something that they can really utilize, because a lot was going on due to COVID and just really, other pressures that they're going through. And then that's, what Project Coping Box came about. And then we kind of talked about the different things that we utilize for coping, did a lot of research, and that's how we came up with all of the things that we put inside the Coping Box.
And also applying to the Accelerate competition, it was actually suggested by one of our cohort members from the Neighborhood Leadership Development Center. I think her name is Danielle, and her daughter Logan. I think they were runner winners the year before, and she had told us that Project Coping Box would be absolutely perfect. And we seen this as a really great opportunity to further expand our reach, because while we had been distributing coping boxes to youth all throughout Cuyahoga County, we received so many requests from adults that were like, okay, where's my coping box? And we had determined, like, using this Accelerate pitch, we can use this as the opportunity to let everyone know, our current followers and potential supporters, let them know that we're now expanding our reach to provide services for adults in those sensitive groups, so addiction, homeless, and of course mental illness. And we've seen Accelerate as like the perfect opportunity for more support, but then also get the funding that we need to kickstart our inventory increase.
So, and as the two of you think about the experience overall with Accelerate, what has been most surprising to you about it?
I would say like all the help and like trainings that we had. Like I wasn't like really expecting that. And I feel like me personally, it helped me like be comfortable with you guys. Even when we went to the recording, I was like, I know these people. I'm not nervous at all. Like, you know what I mean? I had good jitters. So and I speak a lot, and I've been in rooms where I was like, no, I don't know how this is going to go. So the fact that we had all of those trainings and I felt so comfortable like that, I was really taken back by that.
I concur with that, Ashley. I was surprised at how much direction we did receive. And I would say more recently, probably over like the last couple of days, I've been back in circles and with all of these different groups and community partners that I've been working with, that I've already told about Project Coping Box, but the conversations are a little bit different. Since doing the pitch competition, I feel like people have been more open in sharing their own personal stories with me. Before it was always conversations of how can I support? Oh yeah, I'll donate this, or I'll drop off certain items. But now the conversations are more of, well, you know what? It really made me think about my niece. It made me think about my own personal experience. So with that, I'm really enjoying the more candid and sincere conversations that I'm able to have with people that I've already had connections with. The pitch has sort of set that up for that open, honest communication. So I'm enjoying that, and it has kind of taken me back, like, oh, I never knew.
All right, let's go to Abby and Rachel. So as you think about where you're headed, what's next for your project, and what needs do you have to help you get there?
I think a big part of what we want to do is expand the network and get the word out there about what we're doing, because an important part to our success is that, you know, a wide variety of businesses are involved and a lot of universities are involved. So we'll continue to grow that. And Rachel, do you have more?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've already started following up with a few connections that we've made through this process. And then Abby and I are sort of figuring out how to best connect with universities and who to connect with at the universities as well. So. All
right, Lisa, and how do you anticipate moving forward with your project?
Rachel, I'm looking forward to planting the next group of trees. In my pitch, I said the trees we're responding with the trees as if they were cured there on the concrete sidewalk with the lighted candles and the t-shirts and the teddy bears. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm already going to meet with Maisha Coleman of Peacemakers on Friday, and she already has her group of violence interrupters. And I'm waiting to hear from the City Hall version of violence interrupters as well. So the weather is warming. We know that there were 187 homicides last year in Cleveland. And I'm looking forward to implementing my plan, not just because of the greening effect, but because it saves costs. The average inpatient cost for a gunshot wound victim is $25,000. And I multiplied that by 187, and I got $4.6 million of savings in healthcare costs. So I'm looking forward to seeing the benefits of the greenery and the cost reduction, and of course, the lives saved and improved.
And Layla and Ashley, similar question. What's next? Where are you headed with Project Coping Box?
So I know we're looking to schedule focus groups. We have ideas of what to put into the coping boxes, the distinct coping boxes for these new demographics. But we're looking to schedule focus groups to get better insight and ensure that we're placing items in there, not only that we know to be useful, but things that those individuals would find useful to themselves. So things specific to those groups. Of course, we are always accepting donations on our website, the missing link, cle.org. And outside of just the project, we're still continuing our efforts under the missing link. So providing a weekly check-in for youth throughout Cuyahoga County every Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30. And we are open and looking for additional agencies to bring into our referral network for the coping boxes. We want to have it set up in a way in which we're able to track progress of the individuals that receive coping boxes, as opposed to just passing them out to individuals and hoping that they have good outcomes. Ashley, did you want to add?
No, I was actually going to say all of that. So you're good.
Then I'm going to pose to each of you the same question that we posed to our first group, in that for those who are thinking about an idea that they want to start to pursue and get off the ground, what advice would you have for them? I'm going to start with Abby and Rachel.
I think that to get started, it's as much about fundraising as it is friend raising, and having connections and bouncing ideas off people and building your network is just as important as getting the funding to get it up and running.
I think also just follow what you're passionate about and what drives you. I think what I have witnessed with this process is those that have been finalists, it's something that they're truly committed to and believe in, and they've found ways to move that forward. And so if you have an idea or something that's really on your heart, follow that and move forward with it, because I think that you'll find those to support you in that dream.
And Lisa.
First, I would say I didn't know that there were 60 people who applied, and then you filtered them out to 30, and then you filtered them out to a handful. So I would tell anyone who's thinking about it that the competition is really stiff. And also, Rachel, you told us to do the background on our judges. And I believe that that was very helpful for me, because in my pitch, I told each one of those judges how they were going to use my program. And I believe that allowed me to advance. So those are the things I would say.
Yep, great ideas. And then Layla and Ashley.
For me, visualize it. Come up with a picture. See yourself in whatever you're doing or whatever that project is. Write it down, come up with a plan, and just do it. I think a lot of times self-doubt stops us from doing a lot of the things that we love. Don't use that self-doubt and that fear as fuel to just do it, because you're going to touch somebody. And as long as you remember that and you remember your why, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I agree, girl. 100%. Everybody says such good things and things that I would have said, especially with sticking with your why. But I guess to add to what everybody has already said, I would make a list of my support system, whether it be in my house. Well, of course, there's 3 levels to it: the people in your household or in your immediate family, and then to your friends and colleagues, and then maybe even strangers. Try to garner support behind what it is that you're doing and lean on that support system throughout the process. I know I mentioned before, I rehearsed my pitch with my 3-year-old and my 7-year-old daughter so many times, and they gave me feedback along with my husband and other family members. And even on the day of the event, I received so many different text messages, phone calls, messages on Facebook from community partners that were just giving me that extra push and extra boost of confidence that had me excited and ready to go, and just constantly reminding me of who I am, what I can do, and who I am to the people that I serve as well. So I would look to my support.
All great pieces of advice. So ladies, thank you for the conversation. Now we are going to bring back all of our finalists, and we would like to kind of have a more open Q&A. So for those who are viewing today, if you have any questions for any of our Accelerate finalists, please put those in the chat box. What I would like to do to kind of start is for each of you to share succinctly, if you can, what will success look like for you with this project? And I am going to start with our Authentic Cleveland Experiences category, Antwoine and Michael.
Oh, hey, Rachel, would you restate the question again?
Sure. What is success going to look like for you with your project?
With our project, success is being able to continue to provide a platform for artists, young aspiring artists, as young as 6 years old, who we're in front of. I want to say quite often, and just want to be an inspiration to them, and again to be able to collaborate with those local arts organizations, and just continue to spread the word.
And I would second that, and would say we would love to see the numbers and the data go down as far as Black, brown artists being represented. I know we're at a 1% in national collections, 2% with Latino artists, and 9% of Asian artists. So that number has to come up. So we're fighting hard to make sure that those artists' voices are elevated and making sure that we're doing the work on the ground level, starting with 6-year-old kids.
All right, let's move to economic development with Abby and Rachel.
I think for us, it's pushing beyond the pilot program, getting more students involved, exploring what it might look like at the high school level, becoming financially sustainable, and having a positive experience for both the businesses and the students, and then of course keeping students in the region.
Yeah, just to build off that, I was going to say, well, no, we're successful when that retention of talent, that percentage has increased. So.
All right, Sarah, in our education category.
I think it's twofold. One is closing the achievement gap in literacy for both race and gender in Cleveland schools. And second fold, when our teaching force is reflective of our community and students are seeing the teaching force reflective of those who are attending school in our community. So we have a long way to go to reach both of those goals, but that's our ultimate success.
And let's look to health and well-being with Layla and Ashley.
I don't want to cut you off. Were you about to answer or no?
No, I was gonna let you go because I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, okay. For us, success would be communities in which individuals are able to effectively assess their emotions and rely on healthy mechanisms to cope with everyday life.
I also think getting more students involved with those weekly check-ins, because at that time we really pour into them and give them feedback on how to effectively use those different coping skills. So getting those students involved as well.
Right, then let's look to quality of life with Michelle.
I think the first step to obtain success for Project Delight is just to share awareness, which luckily has pretty much been achieved through the Cleveland Leadership Center. And then the second part would be to hopefully actually introduce change across communities, whether that's low-cost shielding or replacing light bulbs, especially for communities here in Ohio who may be struggling with light pollution. I believe that with those two goals, Project Delight will be able to substantially transform light pollution across Ohio.
And then social change and Lisa.
So some of the measures that would show the outcome is that some of the measures here that would be successful measures of the outcome, I should say: reduction in firearm assaults, reduction in emergency room visits based on firearm assaults, reduction in the costs attributed to firearm assaults, and the increase in property values, because tree planting increases property values. Deciduous trees are actually not as valuable as conifer or pine trees. So those were some measures that would tell me my program is successful.
So we have had a couple questions come in for a few individuals. So Sarah, I'm going to start with you. What has the reaction been around your school and the Cleveland School District in general for winning Accelerate?
So the school district has been very supportive throughout the process, as working with our human resources department to gather statistics and an understanding of the problem. And our CEO has definitely been on board and wants to meet. We're obviously in the midst of bringing 37,000 kids back to school in the next 2 weeks, so it's a crazy time. But we do plan on meeting to see how we can scale the program even faster, because they understand the urgency of the problem as well.
And Michelle, so as you look ahead, how do you see Project Delight in your long-term plans? For many might not know, you're still in high school. And as you look ahead to heading off to college and career, where does Project Delight go from there?
So even when I'm going into college, I hope to continue Project Delight, not just in my community, but also hopefully reaching out to other communities across America, or perhaps even internationally, because in college, I hope to just expand Project Delight, since that means I'll be connecting more with the world around me and further communities that can help me connect with others around the world.
And we've had a question that's going to be open to any of our presenters, so feel free to unmute yourself and jump in. What do you need to hurdle or accomplish to reach the next goal for your project and idea?
I'll take that, Rachel. I need volunteers. Now, I have said in my pitches that I would start with the violence interrupters because they are responding to the scene of a firearm assault. And the victims and the bereaved and the neighborhood people are identified, of course, through their actions and police actions. So I don't want to limit the planting just to them. I wanted to start with them because it's the most actionable. They're the most bereaved, they're the most troubled. They have to visit the loved one in the hospital, raise bail money for the shooter, etc. So I wanted to start with them, but I also wanted to use people who are in grief support groups, like in Metro Health. So that would be something that would help push my program along faster, the number of people who can actually participate in the actual planting.
I would say for me, it's developing an advisory board of people who are experts in other areas to help me move this forward. Education is my passion and my history, but getting people together who understand the technical sides better, that have supports in other communities. And so we intentionally pick schools that were in different neighborhoods across the city of Cleveland. We really want the program to continue to be reflective. And so our advisory board would be our adult version of that, to make sure we have adults across the city who are invested in the same program as well and want to provide those supports so that we can continue to grow.
Now, I would say for us, it would probably be get in a central location where our youth and artists are able to get to us, and they're not having to drive so far. That resources, of course, donations, always help with the work that we're doing, since we are arts based, and so those type of things are some of the key things that I feel that we need. Also, with those resources, being able to pay local artists again to be able to work within our organization and make money while they're in between exhibitions and things like that, because a lot of them, kind of like have these jobs that, they have to work that doesn't fit with the creative field. So we would love to do that and use those resources to actually give back to the local artists as well, so they'll be able to sustain their career.
And I have to also kind of piggyback off of Sarah's comment about just having the advisory board. It's beneficial for us to have not just artists who are on the board or people that are in the arts field, but to also have those people who are in business, who are in strategic planning, so people that are in accounting. Just a diverse board of quality, high performing, who can bring value to our organization.
For Project Delight, I think the largest hurdle that will need to be accomplished is working with city councils and helping them recognize that light pollution isn't just a local issue that can be brushed aside, but rather something that has prevalent consequences across communities. And so by helping city councils realize the importance of light pollution, that way we can introduce new changes that can transform communities for the better.
I believe for us, the biggest hurdle is we're very well established and embedded in the community in terms of working with our youth. But one thing that I know that we'll have to further develop and cultivate is the relationships with different groups and organizations that are working with our new additional target audience, which are those that are dealing with addiction, homelessness, and even mental illness. And I think somebody had asked if the focus groups are going to be virtual. Yes, because I work from home and I have kids that I homeschool, so we can have those in a virtual setting. And we are interested in having a moderator available. Again, too, similar to Antwoine and them, we live off of donations of physical items, even monetary donations. And right now we have a location, a yoga studio. She's been basically allowing us to stay at her studio since COVID. free of charge. And we're not quite sure of when it will no longer be available. So we're always having our ears open and our eyes open for potential new locations, because we know that's something that's probably going to come up in the near future. And of course, we could always use more volunteers with helping with building the coping boxes, picking up donations, and even dropping off finished products to different agencies throughout Cuyahoga County.
I would also say us making sure we're getting the right people in the focus groups, so we know that we're putting the right things in those boxes to those different populations. We don't want to just give them a box and it's not beneficial to them.
Well, I want to say thank you to all of our presenters. And as one of our judges commented in the chat box, just a note to say that we are all in awe of the courage and passion of you as innovators here today. So we thank you for taking that chance to apply and for all you have done and will continue to do to make a difference in our community. And we are also thankful for our Accelerate sponsors, especially our presenting sponsor, Citizens, for helping us to make this experience possible. Please reach out to our finalists to help them advance their work, and check out their pitches and the final program by visiting the CLC Accelerate page of our website. And again, CLC is very happy to help you make connections to our finalists to help them to advance their work.